NAGC and also NAGC guests and also NAGC visitors to the archive of this terrific December 2018 NAGC Webinar Wednesday. It's wonderful to have you today. My name is Bethany Hornbeck. I am Professional Development Director for NAGC, and I am your host and also playing the double role today, a lead presenter for today's presentation of how to win a Blue Pencil and Gold Screen Award. We have a couple of things to talk about logistics-wise, and then we'll get right into the content. First of all, if you have a question for myself or the panelists or our technical support, who today is Dave Shea, you can go ahead and put those into the Q&A box, which you will find in the menu bar in your Zoom window. You can send questions anytime during the presentation. We will put those in the queue to answer at the end of everyone's comments. You are also welcome to use the Zoom webinar chat to talk with the your fellow participants and the panelists as well. In fact, if you have a moment, you'd like to take a moment to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, we would love to hear from you. So today's topic is Blue Pencil Gold Screen Awards. This is an annual awards competition held by NAGC. I hope that some of you have entered before, and I hope we have some new folks as well. Today we are going to talk about a number of things. First, let's introduce our presenters. We have today myself. Again, my name is Bethany Hornbeck. I run my own communications company called Mother Communications. It's a startup in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I have been serving as Professional Development Director for NAGC since 2015. And I'm thrilled to continue to hold this webinar series for you all at NAGC. We also have Jennifer Benarott. She is the Communications and Technology Services Director for one of our frequent winners of Blue Pencil Gold Screen Awards, the city of Edina, Minnesota. She's going to talk about the competition from the award winner's perspective, and she also has a judge's perspective as she has judged a number of years. We also have Rebecca Kimmich, who is press officer for the also frequently award-winning Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. In fact, her supervisor there, the big man, won our Communicator of the Year 2 years ago for doing fantastic work associated with drought and drought conditions in Southern California. So excited to hear from her today, and she's going to talk about their Best in Show winner last year. So Jennifer and Rebecca, I know you're on mute right now. We'll hear from you in a minute, but I just want to say thanks so much for joining us today. It's wonderful to have you. Oops, oh, I'm sorry, hold on a second. I just did something. Oh, there we go, okay. So let's go through our agenda real quickly. We're going to talk about what is brand new this year, our new submission process. I hope you guys are excited to hear we're doing an all electronic submission. I'm going to go through the portal with you. It looks very simple, very easy. We have not used it before, but I'm anticipating that it should be fairly minimal problems with that. Then we're going to get an award winner's perspective from both Jennifer and Rebecca. Then we'll talk about entry logistics, a few more tips from success that we've gathered over the year from judges and past award winners. And then we'll hold our Q&A until the end of the session. We'll try to hit this about an hour. We'll probably go a little over or under, but we'll do the best we can to respect your time. So let's start with, if my PowerPoint will move, there we go. All right, so this year's big news. I'm going to go over this with you, and then we'll toss to our two presenters. Electronic submission. So we've been working on this for a couple years. We finally were able to find a platform, and our new management company was able to get this together for us. We're thrilled to be able to present it, and this is a full electronic submission process where you fill out everything electronically, you submit your documentation electronically, and then we will handle all payments electronically. So first question is, where would you find this information? So this is a snapshot of the nagc.com, our website. If you go to awards, it'll give you a drop-down menu for Blue Pencil Gold Screen Awards, and this is the main page for Blue Pencil Gold Screen. And down here, over here to the right, you'll see review the entry requirements and also submit an entry. So here we go. Here's where you find the link, and then here's where you review the entry requirements and submit an entry a little bit bigger, and let's click that and go out to the site. And this is what it looks like. So it's very simple, very, very simple. The first thing you will need to do is set up an account. I have done that, and I will go ahead and put my name and information in there. Ooh, I hope I remember what I put in here. Let me see. Oh, I don't know what my password is. I hope I remember. Oh my God. Well, if not, I'll do another one. Yes, okay. So this is what the site looks like. You can click here to learn more about how to actually do the entries. All the entry information would be right in here. And then you'll see that you have an opportunity to create an account. So to do so, you just do the usual. Oh, darn, I can't believe I can't remember my password. I just did this yesterday for the first time. Let's try that. Sorry, I had this all set up. Oh, darn it. That's a pain. Well, let's see. We'll just set it up this way. Communications, we'll say test. Need a password. Sure. Well, I'm sorry, folks. I had everything set up. I apologize. And here I just always have to miss something. All right, so let's see if we can get ourselves in here. Well, now you know it doesn't take very long. Oh, here we go. Okay, excellent. So this is the portal. You will see that the entry requirements are all on this main page. It talks about the judging process. It talks about your entry fees. And what you need to do is go up here to go to in progress, and that will show you an entry that you, no, I don't want to do that, thank you. Here you go. So when you are entering as you enter your data, it will save it, and you can, unlike the last few years when you were entering the information and then it had to be saved, or else it would be lost. When you start an entry, it will be saved in progress, and you can go back to remove it, edit it, or print it until. Yes, ma'am.
This is Rebecca. I apologize for interrupting, but I think the screen for all of us watching has frozen on the first slide that reads this year's big news electronic submission. None of us, if you look at the webinar chat, none of us are seeing your actual login.
Huh, that's odd. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Yes, we should definitely unmute and tell her. I think I am not using two screens. You can't see the thing? You can't see my screen when I go to online?
No.
Huh, that's odd. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if I go down. Can you see the change in my slide?
Yes.
I know why. Hold on a second. I probably have to leave the slide. There we go. How's that? Better? Can you see it now?
No, now we just see the whole PowerPoint.
Huh, really? Okay, well, I apologize. All right, well, then let me go down to here. I have backup slides for just such an occasion. All right, let me go back into slideshow. Thank you for letting me know. I apologize, everyone. I will have to scroll down through because it won't let me open it in slideshow on a certain slide. So, okay. All right. Hey, you know what? It's live presenting. It's anything can happen when you're going live. Now it's working. Everything's coming through. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Grimley. All right, here we go. All right, let's start again. So this is a screenshot of the opening page of the portal, and you can see that it gives you information about the award. It gives you an awards overview. There's a list to the list of categories, and also you can learn more before you start entering your information. Before you start entering your submissions, you will need to create an account. It's a different platform than the NAGC website, so you will not be able to log in with your current NAGC username and password if you have one. You can create a new account by clicking My Account tab right here. along the top. And it's very simple. It's just going to ask for your an address and your name, your agency, your mailing address, and then a password. It's very simple. I'm sorry you couldn't see that when I was doing it, but it's very simple. So once you've created an account, it will log you in, and then you will see this type of a view. And it's going to give you a starter entry right here under In Progress. And you can click on there, and you can click on the entry, and let me see if it shows you on here. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. This is explaining, let's go back up. So if you click here to see, view the list of categories available to enter, which there are approximately 35 categories. There's some differences from last year, but not very many. And then you can click this link to say, learn more and start your entry. When you click here, it will take you to this explanation page. Go down. That talks about the entry requirements, when they're supposed to be completed, what the judging process is. On this page is also the fee schedule and some other information like that. And then what you'll do is down at the bottom, you'll see where it says save and next, and you can begin your entry there. If you've already started putting entries in and you've saved those, then they will show up here in progress. There will also be a starter entry after you've set up your account that you could go to in here as well. And then when you go to, this is where you actually start your entry. So you're going to give your name, the category you want to submit your work to, the title, the agency organization, your mailing address, etc. Please note that the main name up here at the top should be for the person completing the entry and the person that needs to be the primary contact throughout the process and any follow-up. So if you are the person who would be the point of contact, you would be receiving notification of award, you would be receiving your feedback from the judges, etc. That's the name that needs to appear here. And then your title and the name of your agency organization needs to appear exactly as you would like it to appear in the brochure. So when we do our awards banquet or our rewards reception, there's always a program that's printed, and it has everybody's name and the name of the agency, the name of the entry in that, and that's what would appear in that program. So go ahead and put that in there that way. And then below this page, which is where you have put the title of the entry, your government organization, the principal contributor, which may or may not be the main point of contact, and then their title, and then you can do up to 3 additional contributors and their titles. You can have up to 4 contributors per entry. Note that, well, let's talk about that in a second. So then below that page is the actual nomination, what was previously the nomination form. So in here you will describe your entries. You'll talk about the purpose of the entry, who the target audience was, what your budget was, what your measures of success were, any special factors associated with the entry, etc. These are running around 100 words per item, and that's to reflect about a 1-page form, which is what we used to use. And this is the meat of your entry. Be sure that you are detailed and specific as you can be within the word within the wording limit. And consider your audience. Wow them with your work. You're going to be reviewed by a bunch of communicators, so feel free to put your best foot forward in that regard, and let us know why you are fantastic. Once you have completed the form, you can go ahead, you will go down and choose the file, and you will upload the files associated with your entry. You'll enter the submission date, and then you will go ahead and you can save it. If you are not done, you can go ahead and save, and it will save your changes. Then you can go to that In Progress page, under that In Progress button, and you can make edits, or you can add it to your cart for checking out later. Now, a really nice thing about this system is you can submit, you can click this little box that says, I want to submit this entry to another category. So you are able to submit as many entries as you like, and you can submit into as many categories as you like. And you can also submit one piece of work into multiple categories. So if you were doing a writer's portfolio, and one of those pieces was also a public service announcement, you could submit that piece to both the writer's portfolio and the PSA category. You do not have to pick one or the other. So the nice thing is you can click this button, and all the information about that entry will be saved. and you can, and then you can use it again. So it's a really nice feature of this system. Let's see if there's anything else on this. I'm sorry I have to go through that. It's for some reason when I go into slideshow mode, it's going to the first slide instead of the one I was on. And that's it. So you'll save, we suggest that you save all your files as one PDF prior to uploading. The submission date is the date on which you are completing your entry online. That determines your fee. And then select the checkbox if you want to enter into another category, and then add the cart, and that'll take you to the payment screen. All right, so let me stop there and see if we have some questions. Kay Patasik says, I'm the primary contact, but our programs are done by a large team of people. My agency project wins. Can we say we want to be listed in the program with no individual names? Yes, for certain. Yeah, just list yourself as the primary contact, and you could list yourself as the primary contributor. And then I would just make a notation in the special publications section, or just contact us directly and we can work together on that. So yeah, for sure. I think that would be fine. Or if you want to give your team a name and use that as the primary contributor, say it's the social media campaign team, that would be fine as well. If that doesn't answer your question, let me know. All right. So sorry for the roughness there, but I think we are ready to hear from one of our winners. Jennifer, are you ready to present? I will go ahead and put your initial slide. Oh, darn it. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll go ahead and put your initial slide up.
Thanks, Bethany.
You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Again, my name is Jennifer Bennerat. I work for the city of Edina, Minnesota. It's a first-ring suburb of Minneapolis. I joined the city staff in the year 2000 and won my first Blue Pencil Award in 2001. So I'm a big fan of this contest, and it's helped bolster my confidence and my community's confidence in my team's work. So before I talk about a specific project, I want to tell you about why we enter the contest every year. First of all, I think it goes without saying that your constituents and other government leaders appreciate national recognition such as this. They add credibility to your work and its importance. If we could go to the next slide, Bethany. Of course, when we enter the Blue Pencil and Gold Screen competition, we're also creating a wonderful repository of incredible government communications examples that we can borrow from when we see them at the communications school and when we share them with our fellow members. And of course, we don't live for the limelight. That's why we work behind the scenes, but a few raving headlines and a moment in the spotlight are pretty sweet. So now I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of the projects for which we won an award last year. If we could go to the next slide, please, Bethany. We decided to enter a unique brochure that we produced in, I guess it would have been 2016 if we won the award in we produced it in 2017, won the award earlier this year. I have peers throughout the country who make different decisions about how and what to enter in contests. For me, I look back on our body of work over the past year and work through it as a team, trying to determine the things that we're most proud of. I do have peers, though, that they enter the same projects every year, for example, a newsletter or a video program, because they're really proud of that. And there's nothing wrong with that approach either. That's just not one approach that we take. We only submit the things that really stand out to us as being different in the past year. I think a good entry is one that's really creative and for which we can give documented achievement of its results. And of course, it's really, really important that that entry be complete, not just the really cool brochure that we made, but that entry form that Bethany just went over, really using your word count, maximizing the word choice to make sure you're giving the judges the best and most complete information possible so that they can weigh not only the physical piece in hand, but really understand your thought process behind it. What was your purpose, your goal, or your objective? Who was your target audience? Did you reach them? What results did you have? Detailed budget. This is one that, as a judge, I'm kind of a stickler about. A brochure like this maybe cost, you know, $500 to print, but that wasn't the only cost that went into the brochure. Staff time is not free, and I think it's important in the budget to call out how much staff time you spent on it, as well as any outside costs like printing, and then include any special factors that went into this, into the project. Was it on a really tight deadline? Was budget pulled at the last minute? What other challenges or opportunities did you have as you worked on the piece? Next slide, please, Bethany. So this was the City of Edina. We operate a couple of what we call enterprises or businesses, and one of them is an art center. And this was a brochure that their staff had put together to promote their birthday parties. And they thought it needed a facelift. I hope you agree with them. I certainly did when they brought this to us. This is what we came up with. It was when we first started the project, we took a step back and we thought, okay, in the Twin Cities metropolitan area, who are our competitors for birthday parties? And it's a lot of different businesses. It's movie theaters and water parks and skating facilities and roller skating facilities and trampoline parks. We knew that in a sea of brochures, a sea of marketing materials, we needed to create something that stood out. So while we were asked to simply spiff up that trifold brochure, we decided to produce a die-cut brochure that looks like a painter's palette. And of course, we followed some best practices and tightened the content and tried to make it a fun read with engaging visuals. When we entered this, not only did we enter the pictures that you see here that really sort of illustrate how the brochure is used, I want to talk about how we describe the project on the entry form. For budget and use of resources, we talked about the different staff people who worked on it and that their time on this project totaled 13 hours, writing, designing, obtaining print estimates, and overseeing production. The cost of that staff time equated to $394, and our print cost on this, because of the volume that we produced, was $932. And I pointed out that some of that cost was to create the die for this piece. So on subsequent print runs, of course, it wouldn't cost as much to have it printed. For determination of success or results, I put in some anecdotal information, which we already have, which we all have. You know, people love it. They think it's great. Here's some comments we've received from patrons of the Art Center. But the real nugget of success here was that the Art Center saw a 284% increase in birthday party revenue in the last quarter of 2017 after this brochure was produced. That's just a result you can't quibble with. Our target audience we described as parents of children ages 5 and up. And again, we said we wanted the brochure to appeal to parents of creative children, so we wanted to create a creative piece, of course. So that's my project, and I think that I'm proud of the project itself, but I think what really made it stand out to the judges was really telling the story of the piece. Why did we produce it? How did we produce it? How impactful was it? How much did it cost, including staff time?
Great. And it's beautiful, I have to say. It's very beautiful, very impressive piece. Thank you for sharing it.
Thanks so much, Bethany.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go ahead and pose a couple questions after after Rebecca speaks. So Rebecca, if you're ready to take yourself off mute, I will move as I can to your slide, and you can talk a little bit about your fabulous Solar Cup 2017 Best in Show Award winner for 2018.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to echo a lot of what Jennifer said. I think before I get into describing our entry, I think the first thing to really think about is what you want to enter. And I know everybody does that, obviously, but I think our strategy has been to really, sometimes for a while the philosophy was, or for a long time the philosophy was, let's enter something in every category because we've got things that fit in every category. But rather than do that, we have more recently been taking an approach of let's really think about the projects that we've done that are truly exceptional, and that really stand out, whether they're particularly cost efficient, whether they that are exceptional in one way or another, not just because they fit the not just things that fit the category, and not kind of doing the let's throw everything against the wall and see what sticks and see if we win something, but really trying to be a little bit more strategic about what our entries are. And one of the things that we thought about last year was what projects do we have that have had long-term benefits? Because we can talk about, Jennifer's newly designed brochure there had fantastic short-term benefits, but some of the things that we do, you don't see the benefits right away, or you think about the short-term benefits, but you don't always think about maybe something that is an existing program that has had benefits over the long term, and we don't always assess those. And that's something that we started to see with our Solar Cup program. And what this is it's a solar powered boat competition that we do every year. We take about between 30 and 40 teams out to one of our reservoirs. We're a water wholesaler in Southern California. So basically we import water to Southern California and distribute it to water agencies that then deliver it to customers. So we kind of run the highway system of water, and including the reservoirs. And so we have these large reservoirs, and about 15 years ago, we started this solar powered boat race where we, through the course of the school year, work with teams of students at high schools all over Southern California. They learn mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. Quite frankly, some of them are learning how to hammer and nail for the first time, and they build these solar powered boats. And then for one weekend of the year, we go out to Lake Skinner, our reservoir, and we race these boats. And it's really just a phenomenal program. These kids are so excited. They're learning a tremendous amount of, very useful skills, but it's really fun. So they're doing all of this building and hands-on learning through the course of the school year, and it all culminates with this really fantastic race out on Lake Skinner. But one of the things that, like I said, one of the things we noticed is that there's these long-term benefits, and part of the goal for us is this, but it is coming true that these students that we engage early on in high school and get them to do this program, when they some of them have come back, and they'll come back to Lake Skinner and approach, they're volunteers on their kids' high school teams now, or their little brothers, or they'll come back and they'll say, listen, the mechanical engineering I learned has inspired me to become an engineer, or I had never built anything before, and now I want to be an architect. So it's like it's inspiring these long-term careers, and we've actually had several people who participated in this program are now in our intern program at Metropolitan, and will likely become, are on the track to become engineers at Metropolitan. So, it's an educational program meant to teach about water resources, but it has these long-term benefits that we any education program is aiming for, but we've really seen the results of recently. So, when you're thinking about the entries that you want to do, things that it's a tough thing to evaluate what you do, because as a judge, sometimes we look at things and we say, well, that's this entry is just this is something that's just their job, just in their job description. There's nothing exceptional about this, and so it's hard when you're trying to decide what to apply with to to distinguish between what is the normal course of work and what is truly exceptional. Sometimes it's a special project like one that Jennifer just mentioned. Sometimes it is your regular course of work that has risen to become something that is truly exceptional. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, was think really, really deeply about what different things you're going to enter into the competition. Because the second part of what I'm going to talk about, it takes a lot of time to enter into these competitions if you want to do it really well and think about the things the way that Jennifer mentioned. The narrative that you want to tell, the clearly articulating why this project is exceptional, that takes time. You don't, it's not about just throwing some words on a page and pressing enter. You really want to think about how you're going to clearly articulate, provide this information to the judges so that they can truly understand why this project is exceptional. Links that you want to include, photos that you want to include, just all the packaging that you want to do to really help them understand what it is about this that is award-winning. And doing that takes time, and it really takes some thought. And I encourage everyone as they're applying to really think about different ways that they can tell the story of this project that they're entering, and understanding that the judges may be reviewing a very large amount of work, and so they don't have time to read between the lines and find, oh, okay, it did this, or they really need the entry to speak for itself. And one other thing that I will just add, just as two other things. One, special factors. Jennifer mentioned that. Sometimes, I think by the time you get to the end of the application, you can say, I've already included everything and all the other things. I don't need to throw anything into special factors. Include something. Really think about it. Don't ignore that category. Think about that can just really make your project stand out, where those are things that just linger. Some of those little things that you throw in there, those can really linger in the judge's mind and make your project really stand out. The other pet peeve I will throw in there as well is, make sure you read through your entries, no typos. As a judge, I've been driven crazy by what seem like great projects, but an entry form that is filled with typos, or that's not well written. It's frustrating, and it may make you push aside a project that otherwise is truly exceptional and award-winning. So I guess that's all I'll share. My thoughts until the Q&A.
Great, thank you so much. There's a lot of really good points that we're actually going to reiterate here in a couple of minutes. I would like to point out one thing. We've got some questions and answers happening in the Q&A box, so I would go ahead and look at that while I go through my next few slides, and then we will come back to those if we need to. Also, briefly, Rebecca has got to leave us here in a couple of minutes. She has a crisis communications training that she needs to run, and it's off-site. Jennifer, do you have any, did I say Rebecca or Jennifer? Jennifer's leaving us. Jennifer, do you have any comments you'd like to make in response to the questions that have come in so far before you leave?
It's fun to see all the energy around the program. I really hope to see a lot of great entries. We all make each other better when we enter these sorts of contests. If you really are still unsure about what to enter, still enter something this year, but volunteer to be a judge. I would say that's where I really strengthened my award entry skills, was just seeing what other people are writing and what makes a strong entry and what fell a little short, so I don't make those same mistakes. So definitely consider judging and keep entering. Remember, it is a weighted competition. There is a winner, there is a second place, a third place. So not everybody can be a winner. That doesn't mean your project wasn't great. This is just a national competition. So with a lot of stiff competition, it can be difficult to win, but don't be discouraged. Just keep at it and volunteer to be a judge.
Great, thank you. Let me go ahead and go through a few more slides, and then we can come back to Q&A. And Jennifer, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it, and I hope your training goes well today. All right, so let's talk about, oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about logistics. We have two submission deadlines. There's an early submission deadline of January 4th, 2019, and a discounted price on entries is associated with that early submission deadline. Then the general submission deadline is February 15th, 2019. I don't actually know the answer to whether that's midnight. I meant to mention earlier that our communications director would, our Blue Pencil Gold Screen director would normally be participating in this webinar, but she was on travel today. So she would be able to answer that question. So let's for now assume it would be midnight that night. And let's see. In terms of specifics, so any work produced by or for a government agency is eligible for Blue Pencil Gold Screen Award. The award reporting period for this year is July 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2018. That's an 18-month spread, and the reason we have an 18-month spread is to allow folks to measure their success. So if you wanted to submit something that you finished in November or December of this year, but you hadn't had a chance to see, to really be able to defend a return on your investment or why the product really worked, you could wait until next year to submit that work. So that same goes for last year. If you've got something that you submitted up to, after July 1st last year, it is eligible for award entry this year. There is no limit, as I said before, to the number of items or categories you may enter, and you may also enter the same work in more than one category. And an NAGC member must be listed on the form for your entry to qualify for the NAGC member fee. And we can look at those fees real quickly. There's a member fee and a non-member fee associated with each entry date. And then notice that with members, you get a little bit of a bulk discount if you do 2 or more entries. And that information is listed on the website very clearly. If you go to the portal, you will see very clearly that a lot of this information is already in there. See if anybody has any questions associated with that. I don't see any right now. Somebody did ask about if you have a team and there's too many people to list, feel free to mark that team as the primary contributor. That would not be a problem at all. You could also list the point of contact, although I told the person that, and then I'm like, well, it's probably not the best practice because you kind of want to give the team the recognition. So I would say you either put the primary point of contact as the primary contributor or make it a team effort. And that's really all I have for logistics right now. If anybody has additional questions, feel free to ask them. And we can go through a little bit more feedback from past award winners that we've collected along the way. Use a memorable opening sentence. Of course, you're wanting to wow your audience, as we said earlier. So you really use that entry form to get across the excitement you have about the project and why it was such a success and why your audience was excited about it. Document your achievement with the end in mind. So use specifics and supporting evidence, numbers, dates, specific people, etc. And then, of course, be organized and specific in your entry form. A past award winner said awards are about end results, not your personal struggles during the project, so focus on the work itself. And don't hesitate to include visuals that support your entry, even if they're not part of the campaign. So I think both Jennifer and Rebecca kind of touched on this. When you submit your award entry, you have that form, and it equates to about a page-long form. But when you're submitting your documentation, you don't necessarily have to feel restricted to just submitting your brochure or just submitting your PSA campaign or just submitting your technical report. If you would like to submit some other supporting documentation, feel free to do that. As Jennifer, or as Rebecca mentioned, it really helps for you to help the judge understand your entry. So if you want to point out, you know, look at this place where we did these cool graphics, or explain how, if you're submitting, one of my favorites is an improved document like Jennifer did, the improved brochure. Show us what you did. Now on hers, it was such a big change that it was pretty easy to see. And it was also such a short document, but I've seen, for example, where I had several magazines, and they changed a lot of things in this magazine format, but there was so much content I had to dig through as the judge to figure out what had changed and what hadn't. So the more you can help the judge understand your entry, the easier it is for the judge, and I think it makes it shines a better light on your product. And of course, follow all instructions and criteria closely. Let's see. So now feedback from past judges. I think both of them touched on this as well. Clean, clear, concise, compelling copy. We are communicating. We're communicating about communication materials, so feel free to put your best foot forward, put on your communicator's hat, and tell your story. And I agree with Rebecca to keep your grammar and your punctuation, your spelling errors to a minimum, and watch. Well, I guess you'll have to watch formatting now because we're not in Word. But yes, definitely make sure it's clean, and lots of good use of detail within that word limit. Just sort of a general one. Your audience is not the general public. We see this a lot as judges, and we know that the general public is the kind of broad category of audience for government communications, but usually it's more narrow than that. It might be Social Security recipients. It might be new immigrants to the United States. It could be folks who are using a housing development, who are going to be in a housing development project. So hone in on that specific audience rather than saying, well, our audience was the general public. And as Jennifer talked about, this detailed budget is important. This is a lot of us judges are sticklers for this. Rather than saying, well, the project costs $45,000, or as she was saying, well, we cost us this in print, but there was really no other cost because we produced it in-house, so there was no labor involved. We do want to get those kind of costs as it came out of the budget somewhere. A way I like it is when I see it was $5.35 per copy, so it costs $45,000 to produce it, so much for graphics, so much for editing, so much for the IT platform, so much for printing, and then this was the per copy price. And then when you've got that detailed budget, then in your success section, you can talk more about what the return on the investment was. Finally, this page, measures of success are key. This is why we do the 18 months. It's so important to link back to the purpose and give supporting evidence for why your entry did what it was supposed to do and what kind of positive impact you had through your communications effort. For me, this is really the biggest one. I like to see what the entry did, and it's what gets me excited about the project. And then it has to, and of course, it ties back to the audience and the purpose as you stated at the beginning. Some folks take this special circumstances section. It's a tough section. It's not my favorite. Sometimes you have special circumstances, sometimes you don't. I don't personally weight that a lot as a judge, but it is an opportunity for you to talk about what was different about your project. But we're really kind of looking for, I don't know, something like we suddenly had to go from a 12-person staff to a 3-person staff because I don't know why. We had reorganization and they moved everybody to a different department. Or there was a hurricane that interrupted, you know, for 3 months our communications office. I mean, those kind of things going on that are special circumstances. Yeah, I find that to be an odd section of the form. But these last two are my favorite. So help your judges, as Rebecca or Jennifer was saying. Yes, give your judges the narrative. One of my favorite entries was one where there was an agency that had to change their policy. It was really important to change it because it was costing a lot of money and it's having almost no effect on the public good. They tried to get it through the governing body and it was rejected out of hand, and they felt like it was because the folks weren't educated about it and they didn't have the public backing. So the communications department took this on, and they produced a beautiful communications plan with lots of communication techniques, timelines, methods of delivery, stakeholder audiences. It was laid out beautifully. They did a fantastic job. They got public support, they got governing body support, and they were able to pass this policy change. And when they submitted it to us in the special publications category, the way they packaged it was great because it gave me that narrative as the judge. Again, as I was saying before, it was a binder. It was a lot of material. So it was in a binder, but it had sections and tabs, and each tab had a little description of what was happening in each kind of area of this communications plan. It was a beautiful, easy to deal with, easy to judge, and we gave it first place for that category. And in fact, I lobbied for it to be best in show because it was not exciting to look at. It is a fantastic piece of government communications in action. Great example. And then also just a great NAGC blue pencil gold screen entry, just a great example for an effective entry. So help your judges, and then, as Jennifer said, judge yourself. I agree. This is the best way to get to know how the process works. You know, we could do 10 webinars and never really quite get it across because first of all, you'd be spacing out on us, and second of all, we just can't give you that feeling and that real experience. So consider judging yourself. Judge this year. It's no better time than the present. And in past years, judging has also earned folks a discount to the communications school. If they have that in place again this year, that's a great benefit of judging besides just getting to know the process and seeing it from the other side of the table. Let's see what else we've got here. We're getting close to the end then. Great. So please, folks, be a pain in the ask. If you have any questions once you get into this, if you have trouble with the platform, if you're not sure if your work is fit for a category, if you think you're concerned about it being misplaced someplace, if you're not sure about who should be listed on the form or how to handle a team entry versus an individual entry, please email or call us. This is our email address, info@nagc.com. This is our telephone number, both of course available on our website. And then either Mackenzie Phillips or our competitions director, Marissa Ellison, will get back to you and we will help you in any way that we can. So don't hesitate. We don't want you to run into troubles with your entry because you are worried about asking. So please just give us a call and we will help you. That's what we're here for. The next to the last slide is please also join us. The 2019 Communication School will be held in Washington, D.C. The dates are June 25th to 27th. The 25th is the pre-conference workshops. Those are generally 2 half-day workshops available. Several, you could take up to 2 half-day workshops. They're fantastic, a nice deep dive into communication topics that we don't get during the conference itself. And then the conference is running the 26th and 27th. We will do an awards reception the evening of the 26th. If you just want to come in for that, you're in the Washington, D.C. area, you're able to do so, or you can join us for the entire conference, and then the awards reception will be part of that. All right, I think that's all I have for today. We're very glad you joined us live. The folks watching this in the archives, we're very glad that you're checking it out in retrospect. To the folks who are watching the archive, again, if you have any questions that have not come up in the Q&A that you can't see or we haven't talked about in our voice to voice, please give us a call. We don't mind your questions. Let's see. So do we have some live questions we would like to deal with? I know that Jennifer has left us, but Rebecca, have you seen any questions that you would like to address?
Sorry, I'm looking at them right now.
And if anybody has any additional questions you feel have not been answered, feel free to toss those our way.
Megan asked this, and I answered some on the webinar chat about filling out sections with narrative versus bullet points or lists. I think both work, and I think Jennifer commented that she thinks both works. I will say that, at least for the introduction, as you're introducing the project, I think narrative works a little bit better. Bullets and lists are helpful for the eyes and helpful for judges to quickly understand. But if they don't have the basic understanding of what your project was aiming to do, that can get lost sometimes in bullet form. So big picture, narrative, I think, can be helpful when you're introducing folks to your project.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Yeah, we're not really particular about that. It's more about how well you convey your information, and whatever form you think that that works is fine. We're more concerned about it being clean and it being specific and being compelling from my perspective. Bryn also said she enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I'm glad it was informative. Megan also has a question about which category might be most appropriate for a storytelling project, but she thinks she'll follow up. She can share more details. That's a good idea, because I would like to know more about the actual vehicle you used for the storytelling. That would be good to know. Great. Well, we're at 50 minutes, and I think that's pretty good. The participants, again, I want to thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. The folks that are joining us on archive, I hope this was helpful to you. Again, please contact us at info@nagc.com or by telephone. We will be happy to talk with you further. And good luck, everybody. I hope that you do well. I hope you put some entries in. I can't wait to see your work. Rebecca, I hope that you guys are entering this year as well.
Absolutely.
Great. These guys do good work. All right. Well, then I think we could go ahead and hop off. Rebecca, do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to give?
No, good luck, everybody.
Yes. Good luck. Good luck. All right. Well, Dave, thank you for your technical support. Everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all at Encore in January. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Merry Christmas.
I'd just like to thank the panelists for joining us today and the attendees as well. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Dave. Bye now.